Griffin the Griffin by BlackWing. Chapter 70. Party hard, and it's not even the concert yet. The crowd claps after Pinky and Nightmare finish their duet. The bug approaches me and brings me off to the side.
Did you know Pinkie Pie can read minds on occasion?
He whispers into my ear. Well, anything's possible with Pinky, so I believe it. It would explain a lot, but what does that have to do with... No. No. She didn't. Please tell me she didn't! I begged in desperation. That damn insect just got a smug look on his face, shook his head, and then sighed.
She told me some of the things that pertain to me. You know, I'm not nearly as depraved as you might seem to believe. If I was going to do something sexual, I'd say it.
I facepalm. Great. Just freaking perfect. Not even my thoughts are safe anymore. You know what, I give up. I can't win with you people. I think I'll just fly around and kill the time before the concert. I sighed, feeling defeated. Pinkie Pie saw that? In my head? What did I ever do to deserve this? Okay, I mean, besides the mass murder, piracy, revolution, and trolling. I run towards the exit and see a black spider as big as my head, hanging about an inch from my eyes.
You really shouldn't go judging people. I was with the Royal Guard earlier. It's shocking what a quick training montage can do in a world ruled by cartoon physics.
Spider?
What was that? You gotta speak up.
Spider! Then he turns around and looks at what I'm looking at.
Oh shit, Spider!
He jumps backwards, as do I. I draw Hades and cut the web, dropping the arachnid onto the ground and then leap into the air and pull my sword right up next to my body so I'm vertical, facing the ground with my sword point lined up perfectly with the eight-legged beast. Aegis! A pillar of fire comes forth from my blade, incinerating the fiend, as well as most of the red carpet that was in the hall. A couple of ponies comically grabbed a fire extinguisher and put out the remnant of the rug, while several others look at me with disdain. Princess Celestia walks up to me and her horn begins to glow, putting out the small embers that are now blackened tips of my feathers before I catch fire. Okay, right now you're thinking major overkill. Tell me, if you have arachnophobia and you've seen a black spider the size of your head about an inch from said head, and you are in possession of an extremely sharp object capable of spewing fire, what would you do? Yeah, that's what I thought. Celestia glared at me. You burned my rug. Why did you burn my rug? I liked my rug. I looked to the side to see Nightmare glaring disapprovingly. I turned back to the Sun Princess, who was still awaiting an answer, as well as several other high-class ponies who were also intrigued as to why I set the ballroom on fire. She was not happy one bit, and let me tell you something, when you have a being who can turn you into an icky smear on the wall just by thinking it, mad at you, well, any sense of bravery you once had is gone. There was a spider? I offered. Her eyes softened. Did you kill it? She asked. We both turned our eyes to the black scorch mark on the stone where the spider had been.
That he did, ma'am.
The changeling answered. She turned back to me. Yes. Then the Sun Princess began to smile. Then all is forgiven. Celestia, you troll! As I was thinking this, I heard maniacal laughter coming from behind me near the throne. I looked over my shoulder to see Princess Luna giggling like a mad mare. Wait a second. Spider. She brought the plastic spiders to life on Nightmare Night. I looked at the black spot and found that there was a melted puddle of plastic at its center. Suddenly, everything fell into place in my mind. I lifted my sword to my side and turned towards the laughing moon goddess. Luna! Her eyes turned to pinpricks when she saw me standing there with my sword pointed at her. The human/bug who was now behind me, trying to stay out of my way, looked at the midnight blue alicorn.
You didn't!
She did. Celestia replied with a sigh, rather disappointed at her sister's prank and the destruction it had caused before the gala had even started. Uh-oh. And then the mad chase began. I charged and she began to flee, both of us flying around the ballroom, me trying to catch her and she trying to escape. Get back here! I chased the royal sister with my sword, fully intending to catch her and use the flat as a paddle to give her the spanking of a lifetime. That didn't go over too well with the guard, as chasing royalty with sharp objects never does, and so they began trying to intervene, but were held at bay by my crew. Luna dove into the crowd to try and lose me, and I went after her. Ponies darted to the sides, trying to get out of the fleeing princess and the rampaging bull of a griffin that was me. One of them slipped and, trying to regain their balance, grabbed the cake cart. A 5-tier cake with its fondant swords and cherry filling meant to look like blood, being top-heavy, fell over and landed right on me. I stopped dead in my tracks, sheathed my sword, and just stood there. All the struggles just stopped, and you could hear a pin drop in the room. Then many of the nobility started giggling, and Octavia looked smug, having seen the brutish me being put in my place. Nightmare just laughed obnoxiously. Griffin, are you okay? Luna asks, dropping all pretense of regality and opting to use a comforting voice. I pout and let out a sniffle, and she steps closer so she can look into my eyes. As soon as she's in range, I drop the act and put on the most evil grin I possibly can. Auntie Luna, Griffin needs a hug, I say with a childish tone. I spread my arms wide and flare my wings. Griffin? No, she says sternly as she takes a step back. Yes! I reply with much enthusiasm as I can, and before she has a chance to move, I dive at her and scoop her up in a hug with arms and wings, effectively pinning her. Then I rub the cake off onto myself and onto her, smearing it all over her and taking a big glob of it and shoving it into her face, covering her muzzle. The nobles all look in shock, and, mercifully, Blueblood begins to laugh, prompting even the others to laugh as well. I let go of Luna and just look at her smugly, then shake myself off, splattering even more cake onto her, and then some on any pony unfortunate enough to be nearby. I'm covered in cake, she said stummily. Vicky! I call over the crowd's laughter. She bounces over, spots the confectionery-covered princess, and licks her cheek to clean the cake off. Celestia had a look somewhere between, I'm going to laugh so hard I'll have a heart attack, and what did that poor cake ever do to you? Pretty much the entire room was now laughing at Luna's expense.
Cherry!
Piggy exclaimed as she started licking the cake off the princess again. She looked downright embarrassed. Now, Luna, next time you won't go playing pranks on me, especially at important social events. She grumbled but then obliged, and began laughing as well. I felt a tap on my shoulder and turned to see Aoi. I have a question. How did Nightmare play the music with only one instrument? I have no idea, although when I do it I use magic. Why? I want to sing something, he replied shyly. Aha, so you're finally getting in on the fun! He recoils slightly, considering the fact that smearing royalty with cake is my idea of fun. Trixie! The blue unicorn walks over to the other side of the room. Yes, Captain? I toss her a gem. Aoi wants to sing. Feel like helping him? You got it, she replied. And what about you? The wolf asked. I'm gonna go fly through the waterfall and wash off. I started to leave. Wait, how does this work? He asked. Just say Musica in Memoria, and then think what you want it to play. As long as Trixie keeps the gem charged, you can keep going. I'll be back in a bit. Then I flew out. While I was overhead, I spotted the rest of the main six, as well as the Crusaders entering the building. Great. Now that they're here, things will really get crazy. So far, there's 3 humans, the 6 ponies who crashed the last one, and a group of 4 fillies and colts who get into no end of trouble. The gala was this eventful already, and we just started it. If things keep going the way they are, Celestia will be lucky to have a castle left at the end of the night. After flying under the waterfall, then spending a couple minutes in some updrafts to dry off, I headed back into the building, refreshed. Aoi was done doing his song, and was stumbling off the stage as the crowd cheered. He collapsed, and his 2 diamond dogs hauled him into a different room to lay down. Is he drunk? I knew he would get into the funk sooner or later. I walked back to the stage and patted Trixie on the back. Then, the thing that came in with Pinky came up, and it looked kind of like a bear, but a lot uglier, and with a metal arm and a crossbow. I really ought to have brushed up on my mythology because I have no idea what the heck he was. Little unicorn, do me a favor, he asked in a rough voice. That depends. What's the favor? Use that spell on this. He held his weapon forward. Griffiths, is it a good idea to charge someone's weapon while we're at a social event when we don't even know the guy? She looked to me nervously. I don't blame her. We don't know the guy, and he's asking us to fill a weapon with magic. Well, if he tries anything, me and AOA are here. And if things go sour, you can just claim you were drunk, so why the hell not? Trixie nodded, and her horn lit again. So, what do I say again? Musica a memoria. Then just think the song. Thank you, Conlon. Oh, great, he's drunk too. No, I'm not gonna have any. I don't want Gilda throwing me into the ocean again. I hopped off the stage and joined the crowd. A look of surprise on my face when I realized that the tune was familiar. You can dance if you wanna. You can leave your friends behind. 'Cause your friends don't dance, and if you don't dance, then you're no friend of mine. Nightmare began hooting, "Woo, it's the safety dance," and I just shook my head. Great, now there's 4 humans at the party.
Really?
Lyra walked up behind me. I didn't even need to turn my head to know it was her. Yeah, me, Aoi, the Changeling, and whatever the heck that thing is on the stage.
You mean the bugbear?
So, that's what he is. Now, have you noticed something about the 4 of us?
Well, you kind of stand out. I mean, now that I think about it, if you were all in a crowd, you'd stick out like a sore thumb in a world of hooves.
Lyra pondered. Exactly. We might look like something you've seen before, but the way we act is easy to see that we're not from around here. It's clear how much we stick out. Wait a second. He's a human too, so then that means the number I know of who's been sent here is at 6. And 4 of them are in the same place at the same time. Lyra, I'm warning you ahead of time. Something big is going to happen. And how would you know about that? Twilight asked as she approached. 4 members of the most chaotic species in existence, all at an event which, given its history, could very well be considered cursed. There's simply no way for something not to happen. Well, the event barely started and you already burnt the rug, splattered the cake, and smeared it all over Princess Luna. Yeah, that's just the warm-up. Y'all call that a warm-up? That's like saying bucking the entire north field at the acres is like stretching your legs. Applejack frowned. I must say, you've acted rather dreadful, and the event has barely begun. Rarity scowled. Hey, Luna was the one that put that spider there. She knew it could happen, so go blame her. Thank you, random ponies I do not care about, the bugbear shouted from the stage after his song ended. I hopped up on the stage after he got off and slumped into his seat. Gilda and Nadine joined me. Okay then. Well, how are you all doing today? I was met with some murmurs. Wow, tough crowd. I think I know what can really get this party hopping. I happen to know of a certain song that you all can sing and dance with me. In fact, you don't have a choice. You have to, because the song is extremely embarrassing to do by yourself. You need to have friends to do it with. Also, Pinkie Pie will love it. Get up here, you crazy mare! She bounced up onto the stage, and I whispered into her ear. She giggled and said, "Ooh." I held her with the rest who were on stage, and once we were all ready, Trixie charged the gem. Let's dance! As we began to dance with our hands on our heads like bunny ears, the cats and griffins joined in, as well as Trixie and Gilda, that the way the crowd might follow along if they saw a bunch of people doing it, rather than just one. The strange bear-like creature gets back up on stage and dances drunkenly, at one point actually falling off the stage. Nightmare sings, Celestia looks amused, and Luna is trying to get cake out of her thorough mane. The CMC and Twilight are dancing as well. Applejack, Rarity, Fluttershy, and Rainbow Dash are looking embarrassed and standing around awkwardly. And Pinkie is having a blast with us on stage. Eventually, we got most of the crowd doing it. After what has happened already, what further shame could come from some harmless caramel dancing? Drawn by the music, Aoi stumbles back into the ballroom, a heat flushing in his face from the alcohol, and then he spots Rainbow Dash. She's wearing the gala outfit Rarity dolled her up back in Ponyville. Red leaf-patterned kimono, hair in a bun with chopsticks through it, some blush, and a hint of eyeshadow. She is definitely looking pretty. She's trying to avoid being seen, clearly nervous about her choice of attire as well as the song. Wait a minute. Aoi is from Japan, and Rainbow is dressed up in classical oriental style, and is gorgeous at that. Oh ho, I see what's about to happen. Go get her, Wolfie! I smiled devilishly. This couldn't have turned out better if I had